And Union Minister Farooq Abdullah has stirred a controversy. Replying on the Justice Ganguly Rao, the former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister has said that they are scared to even talk to women these days. In fact, he said that they will even think twice before appointing a female secretary.
You have a samosa?
No. यार आजकल तो डर लग गया है लड़की से बात करने का। अब तो ये हालत हो गई है। बल्कि हम तो समझते हैं कि हमने किसी ने भी सेक्रेटरी नहीं रखना है अब लड़की। ये खुदा ना खास्ता कहीं ऐसी शिकायत ना हो जाए कि हम ही जेल पहुंच जाए। हालत ऐसी हो गई है। मैं मानता हूं कि रेप बढ़ गए हिंदुस्तान में, ऐसी बात नहीं है कि नहीं है, मगर कहीं तो कोई रुकावट होना चाहिए।
And our correspondent Kamaljeet Sandhu now joining us live. Kamaljeet, we understand Farooq Abdullah making a borderline sexist comment over there, actually sparking a major row. And I believe that this is going to spark a massive controversy.
There is courting controversy, and this is not the first time he has foot in mouth. He's done it earlier, and obviously there again he is short off, clearly saying and talking about women and saying that there are senior politicians who don't want to keep women as secretaries, and obviously that has actually antagonized a lot of people. Obviously we also asked him a secondary question, a supplementary question, saying, are you now blaming the victim of a women coming out and complaining? So he said, no, this is not what I really mean to say, but he went on to actually clarify and say that the society has become like that, and perhaps the society needs to have a change. So obviously we're making a U-turn on that particular statement itself, but clearly he did not mince any words when he said that people and senior positions or politicians for that matter do not want to keep a female secretary. This is obviously being seen in a different light, in a sexist light. So in that sense he's going to really antagonize a lot more women. And obviously we know that this case is very sensitive. A law in turn has clearly made very serious allegations against Justice Ganguly. There have been certain voices within the parliament also, like Sushma Swaraj, Derek O'Brien, who've clearly said this is the time that Justice Ganguly should actually step down. He's not done yet that. We also spoke to Ram Jethmalani yesterday, who said that Justice Ganguly is a dear friend and he doesn't want to castigate him. But obviously he says that till a probe is done, he doesn't think that Justice Ganguly should step aside.
Kamalji, stay with us. We also have Kavita Krishnan, the Secretary of the AIPWA, joining us on the phone line. Kavita, your reaction to this? Farooq Abdullah actually saying that he fears now appointing women, and now after these allegations that have been made against the retired Supreme Court Judge A.K. Ganguly.
I believe that coming after the Supreme Court panel's findings that Justice Ganguly is prima facie guilty of sexual harassment, what Farooq Abdullah and his brethren, we can say, across political parties, the kind of statements that have been coming out. Essentially, they are telling women, if you dare complain against sexual harassment, we won't give you a job. We'll make sure you don't get employed. This is intimidation and threat against women. This is unconstitutional. And essentially, they're telling women, you suffer sexual harassment in silence or else. No wonder then that women delay filing complaints and women don't come forward for months, because they know that their jobs and survival are on the line. And I think that for Mr. Abdullah to have made the statement after the Supreme Court panel's findings, he's essentially saying an illegal thing. He's saying there is no difference between talking to a woman and sexual harassment. He's trying to suggest that talking to a woman could be construed as sexual harassment, and it's the same thing. Essentially, he is saying sexual harassment is okay to do. And I think that the Prime Minister, I will expect a statement from the Prime Minister of the country, no less, on this outrageous statement by Farooq Abdullah. And I think that in our democracy, it is high time that we stop tolerating the sexism and misogyny which politicians across parties seem to love to spout. It's high time we taught them a lesson.
Kavita Krishnan, the Secretary of the All India Progressive Women's Association, thank you for speaking with Headlines today. Let me go back to Kamaljeet Sandhu. Kamal, already Farooq Abdullah, no later did he made this comment, Kavita Krishnan over there, demanding that the Prime Minister actually issue a statement after this outrageous statement made by a person who is in such a high position politically. And this cannot be tolerated. And meanwhile, let's just go back to what Farooq Abdullah said just a while ago. Let's just listen in.
यार आजकल तो डर लग गया है लड़की से बात करने का। अब तो ये हालत हो गई है। बल्कि हम तो समझते हैं कि हमने किसी ने भी सेक्रेटरी नहीं रखना है अब लड़की, कि खुदा न खास्ता कहीं ऐसी शिकायत ना हो जाए कि हम ही जेल पहुंच जाए। हालत ऐसी हो गई है। मैं मानता हूं कि रेप बढ़ गए हिंदुस्तान में, ऐसी बात नहीं है कि नहीं है, मगर कहीं तो कोई रुकावट होना चाहिए।
Madhu Kishwar now joining us on the phone line. Madhu, Farooq Abdullah making this sexist comment, an outrageous comment. We've already spoken to Kavita Krishnan, who's demanded that the Prime Minister issue a statement after the sexist comment made by a union minister.
See, on the one hand, I agree that it's going to have a very severe effect on women's employment. However, as far as the Abdullahs are concerned, let's not forget, both father and son, Farooq and Umar, were named in the sex scandal list that was prepared by the CBI. It's been dumped and it's been covered and hushed up because they were really notorious. So, for them to suddenly appear so virginal and say, "Hame dar lagega having women around," believe you me, go to Kashmir and find out what people had to say about their personal lives and their relationships with women. But more importantly, they were in the list when a big sex scandal broke out in Kashmir. Both father and son are reportedly, allegedly included in that list of people who were found in a major sex scam. But it got hushed up. And I'm sure such people are particularly afraid now. However, the fears expressed by not just Mr. Abdullah, but several others also, that there's going to be actually diffidence on part of people to have women employed in their offices.
Right.
I don't think it can be trashed easily because on the one hand, while it is good that we are protecting the name and identity of the victim, because the victims at one time used to be really put to terrible social humiliation, now we have totally reversed it, whereas the victim, even in cases that the charges could be, let's say, frivolous, it's not as if that's unheard of, it does happen. She remains safe, but a man, let's say a high-profile person who may, like, let's say, Tarun Tejpal,
Right.
be actually innocent, gets humiliated, there's trial by media, his life is ruined, his family's life is ruined. So if we do need to take a serious note of the new issues that are being raised. And
Absolutely. Editor Manushi Madhu Kishwar, thank you for speaking with Headlines today. Let's just go across to my colleague Athir Khan, the associate editor, who in fact spoke with Smriti Irani, BJP leader, on this reaction, the statement coming in from Farooq Abdullah. Let's listen in.
We have with us Smriti Irani. Let's have over that. Ma'am, now that the Supreme Court panel has submitted its report on Justice Ganguly, what is your statement?
I think that the people of our country look upon the Supreme Court, the highest judicial body, as possibly the only place where we have the hope for justice. And when the panel itself finds credence in the allegations made by the intern, one expects that justice will be done even in this case. For the fact that the Supreme Court, which dispenses justice, for it to ignore injustice within its own premises is not something that any Indian would be comfortable with. I am glad that as at least an afterthought, though after the Vishaka guidelines one presumed that the Supreme Court would have had its panel set in place, but even now that the panel has found misconduct, I feel that appropriate action needs to be taken so that a message goes to the nation at large that the highest judicial body in the country also upholds all those guidelines and parameters which it legally sets for the nation.
Farooq Abdullah has given a statement saying that he is fearful of employing a woman. How do you see the statement?
I feel that it somehow denigrates the very sanctity of the parliament that he represents, and the steps of parliament being used to make such a insensitive remark is extremely outrageous. Mr. Farooq Abdullah, through his statement, possibly gives an indication to the nation that women are to be hired only so that they can be harassed and and assaulted at a place of work, which I feel is not how men across the nation feel. But coming from such a senior political leader, it also brings a question to the fore, especially amidst people at large, as to whether these are the kind of men who sit on legislation which seek to empower women in Parliament.
Thank you for speaking with Headlines today. Smriti Irani clearly says Farooq Abdullah's statement is outrageous. With camera person Alok Bhattagar, Atul Khan in Delhi for Headlines today.
Let's just listen to the statement, in fact, made by Farooq Abdullah that has sparked this massive row. Let's listen in.
यार आजकल तो डर लग गया है लड़की से बात करने का। अब तो ये हालत हो गई है, बल्कि हम तो समझते हैं कि हमने किसी ने भी सेक्रेटरी नहीं रखना है अब लड़की, कि खुदा ना खास्ता कहीं ऐसी शिकायत ना हो जाए कि हम ही जेल पहुंच जाए। हालत ऐसी हो गई है। मैं मानता हूं कि रेप बढ़ गए हिंदुस्तान में, ऐसी बात नहीं है कि नहीं है, मगर कहीं तो कोई रुकावट होना चाहिए।
Kamaljeet Sandhu still with us. Kamal, Farooq Abdullah making this very sexist comment, obviously sparking a massive row. We spoke with Kavita Krishnan, Madhu Kishwar, Smriti Irani over there, really sort of slamming this union minister. But this is not the first time, because even earlier leaders of the political fraternity have made comments like this in remarks that, remember, could stoke a fresh controversy. Naresh Agarwal also said that officers were scared to appoint women as PAs. So another comment coming from a very senior political leader. I mean, it's really female activists, in fact, saying that it's misogyny here.
Definitely so, and females, obviously, as many activists seeing red, calling Farooq Abdullah misogynist, sexist, insensitive. These are the sort of words that they're using, and obviously the statement coming from within the parliament premises from a senior political leader, as senior as Farooq Abdullah, who's been a former chief minister. He's a senior member of the House, and in that sense, we're talking about women empowerment, we're talking about new sexual assault bill in terms of empowering women, and we've seen so much protests happening post the December rape case itself. So in that sense, if this is seen in a new light, we know is he defending Justice Ganguly or people who are sitting in the high seats of power, or is he actually not siding with the victim, saying they should not come out and really complain? So obviously in both ways he's actually getting slammed, and rightly so. Making that sort of statement from the parliament premises is going to get a lot of flack, and obviously there were certain remarks about him, his personal life, but that set aside, the political angle to it is very clear that people and politicians like him who are on seats of power, when they talk that women should not come out and complain and they're scared to really hire women, what sort of example is it to the rest of the country, to the rest of the state?